Hello and welcome to the season finale of Nitty Gritty. This has been season 4, and I'm your host Ryan Biller, and joining me today on set is a special guest star, Quaid Hamilton, who's the general manager of CMU-TV. Quaid, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You guys have a very beautiful set.
I know, it really is something. It's a fantastic set. So, Quaid, tell me a little bit about what it's like to be the general manager of CMU-TV.
Well, this year it's been a lot of fun. In the past, we haven't had a lot of good stability with our crew. I think we lacked a lot of enthusiasm and stuff, and that's really changed around this year where we have a lot of people volunteering their own time, similar to what you're doing. You're not getting paid for these roles, but you're getting paid with experience and being able to say that you're doing this stuff. And I think we finally got that point across to a few people. We've had a really good track record with people getting hired, so that's kind of been our selling point. Is the TV stations like to hire students that come from CMU-TV because they know that the knowledge that they're getting from it is going to be valuable in the workplace. So working with everybody on the team has been really, really fun this year. We've done a lot of new things. We've added new segments. We had a launch party. We've held meetings where there's consistently 10 or more people, including our paid positions, which all those things are new, and it's a really good change for CMU-TV. We've also added set pieces. We've added risers and stuff like that just to make our show have a little bit more quality. And then going more into the shows per se, we've had really, really good content producers this year that have worked hard on making these shows more interesting, adding new segments, adding ways that we think that students will want to watch more rather than our basic shows that we've done in the past. And then outside of that, working with the other organizations, working with Student Life, it's been good. Obviously there's always speed bumps and stuff, but for me, I like that kind of stuff because I know if I go into a manager position in the future, I'll obviously run into speed bumps. So it's always fun it's not fun in the moment, but afterwards when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I learned how to get an alcohol donation. I'm glad I learned how to get donations from businesses to give away at our launch party. It's a lot of work, but it's valuable work, and I enjoy everybody I do it with. So,
Right.
yeah.
Can you walk me through the evolution of how CMU-TV has kind of grown since when you first got here to where it is today? Because it sounds like there's been a lot of improvements.
Yeah, definitely. So when I first came to CMU-TV, it started because I was on the CMU broadcast crew, and I worked as a camera operator for all the live sporting events. I wanted more knowledge and more expertise on broadcast, so I switched over to CMU-TV. When I got here, we had, our meetings would pretty much be paid positions, and then every now and then we'd have volunteers. But with volunteers, it was never consistent. We were always looking for hosts to host our shows. The shows were always kind of a scramble. It was still a great, great program to be a part of, but there was obviously some things that could be done to make it better. So I was a content producer for a couple years, and through that time I saw, we didn't use our social media a lot. We didn't reach out to students as much as I thought we could. And so when I kind of took over the GM role with the help of Delaney, we formed our social media, and we made a plan that we'd post once a day, either at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m., Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends we wouldn't post anything. In that, simple posts like when our meetings are, when we're filming stuff, and that's kind of how it started. And even since that started, the social media has morphed into something way bigger. But when we started posting that stuff on there, more people started showing up to the meetings. And as more people showed up to the meetings, there was more volunteers who were consistent. And we really built a good base the last 2 semesters. And then this semester, we saw an insane growth where people who are freshmen and sophomores, brand new students at CMU, are like, oh man, look at this club CMU-TV. They have this huge presence. They have really good content. Let me get a part of that. And from there, we have all these consistent hosts. We're never scrambling on trying to find a host. The crew's done really well on planning when to film stuff. So instead of, the day before, day of going, hey, let's film a show right now, we're kind of working on planning those out more. And that helps us with social too, because we can say, hey, look, this is when we're filming, this is when we're going to post it, and this is when you're going to see it. So from there, another thing that we changed is when we post our shows, they were only going to the channel. Now, only students on campus could see this, and so that was one of my ideas where I'm like, okay, I'm an off-campus student myself, so I can't even watch the content I'm creating. So last semester, we came up with the idea of building a website, and past students, Matt Thornton worked on it, Delaney worked on it, I worked on it, and a few others had a hand, and we built this really, really cool website on Wix, and now you can watch all of our shows on there. So that gives the shows to be more available for off-campus students and on-campus students too, because to watch it, you have to have a dorm that has a TV and that can be hooked up to the campus cable. Right. So yeah, that kind of blew up our shows because we were posting them on YouTube and we were getting about 15 to 20 views. Now our average is around 65 views. So, 3 times the amount of how many people were watching them beforehand. And that's the other problem with the cable channel is we're not able to see the analytics. So with the website, we're able to see that kind of stuff and really measure our growth. So with all these things put together, as well as really good volunteers, really good people working with us, we've gone to a club that wasn't an organization that had 5-6 members at a time to now our meetings are 10 to 15 people who are there every single week, who are helping us, volunteering their time. We're working on adding more paid positions, and just really trying to figure out ways we can upgrade ourselves. I mean, we have a lot more promotional material. We've been tabling, just trying to reach out there. We're trying to build bonds with the film and animation department and try to kind of branch ourselves out instead of just being consolidated here in Escalante. So yeah, that's kind of where the growth's been at. And, a lot of it is just ideas being thrown around by other people as well. And we just kind of act on it instead of thinking of an idea and then letting it sit there. We're like, okay, here's this idea. Let's write it down. Let's start planning on how we can make it happen. And then we roll it out. And it's been really effective for us. So
now you mentioned things like the website, the emergence of like your guys' social media platform and things like that. What were some of the other notable improvements that were kind of brought on to the club that's kind of shaped into what it is today?
So other improvements are just like our set pieces. That's why I said our set was so beautiful, is because before, our set was very basic, and it was, it was like this wood paneling. You could tell it was old. So last year, I repainted the whole Maverick postgame set. And then I also designed the 2 panels that are on the outside. And, it made us say when we did, so we have a wide shot and, you can see the whole set and it looks great. And when you do the single anchor shots, you have this really cool background on them. And it just kind of upgraded the quality of our show. And then for this set, this piece behind us is recycled from KJCT, which is a local news station. They upgraded their set, and we took some of those pieces, repainted them the Maroon colors, and added some risers. And that I think it helps when new students come in and see a quality set. Even when I walked in here and I was brand new, I looked at that set and I'm like, man, that thing is probably older than I am. It's not very appealing to go work somewhere where that's the case. So I think adding that stuff, we also got a brand new desk that has a monitor in it. And the desk is round. Our other desk would only allow for 2 anchors, and it was a weird T shape. So if you had 1 anchor, they wouldn't be able to sit in the middle. So you kind of always had to have 2 anchors, which it was a mistake that was made years ago that I wasn't a part of. But now we know, like, just go with a circle, go with the square. That way, if you have a single anchor, they can sit in the middle. If you have two people, they could spread out. And now we have the ability to even do 3 anchors, which is something that I don't think was ever thought of before we had the desk. But the kind of improvements like that, just sprucing the place up a little bit, adding promotional materials, and just really making our stuff look quality has helped us grow.
With all these new improvements, where do you see the future of CMU-TV?
Well, you know that I'm leaving this semester, so obviously I'm happy to pass the torch off to someone else, but it's also like terrifying at the same time. I've put a lot of like hard work and effort into the club, and you know, I would hate to see it fall back to where it was, with the team we have now, with the person we have hired and the people we're bringing onto the crew, I don't think that's going to be a problem. So what I see is, you know, more improvements to the set, more ideas on how to reach out to students out there, even if they're not mass comm students or film and animation. You know, if they're design students, they can start, you know, making our lower thirds, making our graphics. If they are, you know, part of a sporting program, you know, just really any department can come in. You know, you can write scripts, you can come up with creative ideas, you can make logos. I mean, the possibilities are endless here, and I think that's a point I'm really trying to get across is, yes, we're CMU-TV, but there's so many little parts that go into TV that people don't even realize, and that's where I would love for people to get involved and be like, oh, you know, I'm a writing major. You know, let me try to write scripts. Let me do some copy editing. Let me, you know, try some of this stuff out, because it won't only help their portfolio, but those people reading the prompter now have a script that's really, really well produced. And the better that things are produced before the show, the better the show is going to be, and the simpler it's going to be. So, I mean, I would love for CMU-TV to keep exponentially growing like we are now. I would love to see our meetings have like 20, 30 people in them, and you know, there'd be a full crew every single show, which we're pretty much at right now. There's only been a couple shows where we've been scrambling, but you know, a camera op on every camera, even if we don't need it, people shadowing, because that's another big thing is, you know, when you come in as a freshman or sophomore, you don't know the equipment. So a great way to learn is to shadow. So if we have enough people here where someone can be on camera and someone can be behind that camera operator, just kind of seeing what they're doing, hearing the commands of the director, and stuff like that, I think, you know, it will only make all this stuff better. So that's kind of, I don't have a direct vision to see where it's going, but I'm also very confident that wherever it goes, it's going to be good.
Now, in terms of yourself personally, once you leave Mesa and CMU-TV, where do you see yourself going?
Yes, right now, I actually have 2 jobs in the industry. I'm a technical media producer at KJCT KKCO. So what that means is I edit videos, I edit all the packages and voiceovers and sounded tracks and stuff like that, and I direct the shows, and then I post all the web streams. It's very similar to what we do here. Obviously, there's a lot that I still had to learn when I got there, but you know, it's been a great experience. It's still broadcast news, and it's a really, really fun job. The news seems so serious on the TV, but when you get there, you know, everybody's goofy. We're playing around. You know, we get our stuff done, but we still have a great time, and it's a bunch of young professionals in the broadcast industry, which is really, really cool. You know, everybody's 20 to 24 years old, and you know, just trying to make a way for themselves in the broadcast industry. And then my other job I just recently got is at Tailgate and Go, which is a local company here in Grand Junction, and basically I'm just producing content for them. So I post on their social media, I make their product magazines, I make logos, you know, anything they want, I just try my best to create. And it's not broadcast, but I've also learned a lot of that stuff through CMU-TV. You know, I've made stickers here, I've designed promotional materials, I've worked with, a team and trying to figure out how we can do advertisement videos and stuff like that. So I hope to stay with those jobs for a couple years and just kind of see where it takes me. I would love to stay here in Grand Junction for a while and work with Tailgate and Go because they are a startup company, and I think it would be a wonderful thing to stay with them, and hopefully they blow up as a company and I can kind of ride that blow up with them and just kind of help them market themselves more efficiently.
So how do you think CMU-TV has helped prepare you for those sorts of jobs?
I think a lot of it has to do with timeliness of stuff. So when we have a show coming out, we want to get it posted on social media as soon as possible. So that's helped me, and just posting on social media in general, figuring out what works, what doesn't work. I was able to do all that at CMU-TV. So now at Tailgate and Go, I'm like, I already know what worked for CMU-TV, so I can kind of apply that to Tailgate and Go. So just creating content outside the broadcast room has helped me with that. And then in terms of broadcast, it's a very stressful experience. It's live television. If you make a mistake, it's there. You can't do anything about it. And the hardest thing is to not snowball. So when you make a mistake, don't freak out about it and keep making more mistakes. And that's really been ingrained in me at CMU, especially CMU-TV. Directing shows, directing GJ Rockies, directing like one-off things. I got the really amazing opportunity to do the gubernatorial debates, and just all that. It was a lot of pressure on me at the time, and it was really rough. But when I got to KKCO and I did make mistakes and I did stumble sometimes, it didn't hit me as hard because I'd already been through that. I've had that experience of failing and learning from that failure, and I knew I just had to take what I messed up on and really switch that into something I learned. And so also with our advisor, Greg, he, as you probably know, very, very hard on us. He wants us to be the best we can be, give not even your 100%, but 150%, that's what he wants. But that's the perfect mentality for broadcast television because that's exactly what is expected of you. You have to be on top of your game 100% of the time. And yes, I said we mess around, but it's only because our crew at KKCO is very, very good at what we do. So I think really it just being at CMU-TV helped me integrate myself into the professional world because this is already such a professional experience.
So for those who want to get involved with broadcasting, how do they go about getting involved with CMU-TV?
So like I said before, show up to our meetings, come to our meetings, figure out when we're filming something, and then just come to a show. And you can explain like, hey, I'm new. I don't know anything about this stuff, but just shadow someone, and that's the best way to start here. And after you shadow, we can start working you into the actual production itself.
Great. Quaid, thank you for being here. Thank you to all those who have been viewing season 4 of Nitty Gritty this whole entire season. This is the season finale, and until next time.